Okay, there's some other things that happened too that came to mind. Milton Clapp, a Zen Center member, the Charlotte Zen Center we had all been sitting at the Zen Center off of East Boulevard and 726 East Boulevard. I can't remember. Anyway, his members seemed to be quite swollen after one of the sittings, and I was really surprised by it. It looked like he was close to erect, and in Chang Dong at the Cambodian Buddhist temple had come into the living room and had sat on the armrest next to me. I was sitting on the sofa, and his member was noticeably swollen. It appeared to be swollen quite a bit. So, which I said nothing. And also, when I was staying there, an elderly woman had yanked the shower curtain on me as a reason to feel like it was being slipped around that I was repeatedly masturbating at the Cambodian temple, which I was not, and only had on one occasion when something took place over there that was like something to slip it to me that it was okay to do that in a temple, which I can recall one of the monks entering a temple with a hardcore pornographic magazine that he had stuck in a briefcase. So, and I can recall seeing the photograph of a woman, a pornographic photograph of an Asian woman standing naked near a statue of the Buddha. So I had masturbated once in the shrine room back when I had water on the brain after that happened. And, also, I can recall Ratanasiya saying, I had a narrow escape, which there had been police over there, and a resemblance strike to something that would take place if something very shameful or disgraceful had taken place. So he was, they were really harsh with two of the monks there, and I walked up, and I think it had been over a traffic accident or something. And then there had been an occasion George Childs had left the bathroom door unlocked, and I came in on him, and he was sitting on the tub where his back was facing me, completely nude. He was in there bathing, or would have looked like the way you would sit on a tub and then while masturbating. Or it was something strange about it. So Wilton Connor Packaging. There was a homosexual boy, an attractive homosexual boy that was offering me rides or transportation, I think, or had I had went somewhere with him. He had taken me to his home. So that's back when I was romanticizing about homosexuality and had done nothing with him. I had not placed my hands on him or made an attempt to get sex out of him, or so. And then there was quite a bit taking place at the Vietnamese temple to give me the impression that I needed to wake up to the way it really is. And so a girl had sat down next to me there that's leg had appeared to have been seriously injured at the Vietnamese temple, and resemblances were striped to letting on that people are self-mutilated to show that they're sorry over something, which almost led to me, which was responsible for things that I did. It was like something like that, like there was resemblances being bared to, letting on to it that something very shameful has been done, or that there's a rite of passage to do something mutilated, to get in on orgies, like a rite of passage to do something self-mutilated, which I had been drawn to someone named Tim Zaboral, who was missing his little finger, and Duke Nguyen had said to me, well, a shithead, and he was often they were often dropping their heads like something that would have, doing that quite a bit. So, which I think played a part in that vandalous sex act. And something unusual had happened over there. Tim Zaboral, on one night when we were living at the Northeast Florida Buddhist Association, it said, yeah, I know. It's like something to lead on to it with, that something it's kind of, it would have given me the impression that something is shitty, but you just have to go along with it because that's the way it is. It would have been like something like that. It would seem kind of strange. Something seemed kind of strange about it. He had showed up at night, had taken me over to the far end of the temple, in a darkened area, and we were talking to each other. And which Ratanasiya had done something like that. I can remember him going, like a grief kind of thing, like you would dislike the way, something that you would come up with to convey how much you dislike the way something is, but that's the way it is, Oh, that also brings to mind Long, that we were staying with when we moved here, a Vietnamese lady that had said we were staying in her home, and she had a pornographic cup. Back in a minute. She had a glass with a picture on it. It was something like lighters, that the clothing of the women pictured on the lighter disappears and you can see them nude. Well, she had a glass like that. You pour water into it and it would cause the bikini to disappear on the woman photographed on it. Well, I was looking at that, and Long had said in a little girl-like way, "That's my pussy." So that had happened. I think Tim Zaboral had been present when that took place, and then there was an occasion Tim Zaboral had said, "That's not my pussy." So I think there's some real steering going on. Now there's a siren Mitt, someone's putting a fix on me to accuse me of lying. I am not lying about that. That did take place. Those things did take place back then. So, which Tim had shown up over there in a black leather jacket, which I think was something led on to it that he was Italian, but that would have led the public to believe that I knew that Italian people had been persecuted. And back then I did not know that. As hard as that may be to believe, I just did not know that. For some reason, I was thinking of who was persecuted as being Jewish people. I didn't make a connection with Italian people. It was like I was thinking of Jewish people as being a race, and not thinking of Italian people. I never took time to think about it in that state. So this guy's continuing to click on me, Mitt. He's one of the guys that stalks me all the time and lets me in on it how much he hates me. And they repeatedly accuse me of lying, which I think they got a play-a-part judge to do that. A Bush bought-off judge, which have just been making my life hell over a little piece of paper and a pencil that was taken away from me in a courtroom. They've used that to practice Satanism on me. That I'm going to suddenly and unexpectedly be stopped while giving an indication or something, giving an indication on impulse or indications on impulse. Or off the top of my head. So, also my father, I can remember my father saying, getting some cooter, which I think was also something that had that played, that was also something that had a bearing on me winding up in that vandalous sex act.